Welcome to the Deep Dive. Our journey today, it starts back in 1989. Picture this. A young man just out of college, degree in linguistics, and he's facing this really big choice. Does he go for a master's in acupuncture and oriental medicine, or does he head back to the U.S. Army aiming to become a special forces medic?
Quite the crossroads.
Yeah. He picks the Army, thinks he's leaving plant medicine behind him, but really he's just unknowingly setting himself up for this, much deeper understanding than he ever expected.
That's a fascinating setup.
It really is. And today we're doing a deep dive into an organization that kind of embodies that unexpected journey, Herbal Medics Academy. We'll explore the honestly incredible range of expertise they bring together, how they manage to bridge ancient Eastern wisdom with modern Western science. And we'll get into this really powerful idea about how the language we use, the actual words, can profoundly shape how we understand medicine.
Right. So our mission today is basically to pull out the key insights here. How do all these diverse backgrounds come together to form a unique way of teaching? How does this integrative herbalism actually work in practice, like in their courses? And crucially, why can the words we choose actually, free up our thinking when it comes to health?
Exactly. So let's start with the basics. Herbal Medics Academy itself, it's not just a school, right? It's built on this mission to pull knowledge from all sorts of places and apply it directly to health. And honestly, just looking at their faculty list feels like a deep dive in itself. It's full of diverse, sometimes really unexpected expertise.
Oh, absolutely. Take the founder, Sam Coffman. He's a licensed acupuncturist, a wilderness EMT, but that's just scratching the surface. He's an Army veteran, 10-year service, 6 of those as a Special Forces medic in 18D. That's a very high level of medical training in extreme conditions.
An 18D, right.
Yeah. Plus, he's a registered herbalist with the American Herbalist Guild, holds that master's in acupuncture and oriental medicine we mentioned. And here's the thing really interesting. He's also their AI director.
AI director, how does that fit in?
Well, he uses his background in medicine and tech to build AI tools for education, like developing conversational AI to help guide students. It's this amazing blend of ancient practices and, cutting-edge technology.
Wow.
And don't forget, his original degree was in linguistics, plus he's got a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It just shows this incredible range of interests and, frankly, discipline.
That's a really unique combination, discipline, holistic thinking, and it seems like that integrated approach runs in the family, looking at the leadership.
It does. Suchil Kaufman, who's an RN, is co-director.
Yeah.
She actually developed their female medic program and teaches wilderness first aid and sustainability stuff. And then Anna Kaufman is also a co-director, handling the school's infrastructure, curriculum development, kind of the student liaison role too.
Yeah. So what does that family-driven, holistic approach bring? What's the benefit there?
I think it creates a really grounded feeling. It's not just theory. It's built on practical, lived experience. And that philosophy extends right across their faculty. I mean, the range of people they have is just compelling. You've got MDs like Dr. Kyla Helm, triple board certified family medicine, pain medicine, anti-aging functional regenerative medicine, also served in the Army.
Right.
And her focus is on finding the root cause using an integrative functional approach. So that's rigorous Western medicine, but with a genuine holistic view. Then there's Dr. Steve Person, another Army Special Forces medic, 18D, battalion surgeon from the 19th SFGA. He actually developed this intensive 350-hour curriculum for prolonged pre-hospital care. It was so good the state of Utah adopted it. That just shows the level of practical, high-stakes medical know-how they value.
Okay, so serious field experience, serious academic credentials. What else?
Well, the diversity keeps going. You have Rebecca Lyons, who holds a PhD in environmental chemistry. She studies how the biochemistry of herbs changes, teaches plant medicine.
Environmental chemistry and herbs. Interesting overlap.
Yeah. And Kat McKinnon, a certified clinical herbalist and nutritionist. She practices from a vitalist perspective, teaches about wild foods, medicine making, botany. It's this blend of hard science and deep traditional knowledge.
So it's definitely not just a random collection of experts. It feels like a very deliberate weaving together of different threads.
Yeah.
Tell us about some other perspectives they bring in.
Exactly. It's deliberate. Like their focus on women's health. You've got Katia Limon, a certified professional midwife since 91, attended over 500 births, worked with Native American communities in East African villages. Just incredible experience. And Mel Bailey, she's a midwife, a nurse, a certified health coach, yoga instructor. She facilitates trainings for birth workers internationally, even disaster relief workers. That brings a really important global health and humanitarian angle.
So,
right. And then people like Carol Jones, herbalist, naturalist, and environmental engineer. She's all about self-sufficiency using local plants. Or look at the wilderness medicine team. Tallis Bryant, lifelong gardener, permaculture expert, teaches off-grid communications. Rick Murphy, former naval officer, nuclear engineering, signals intelligence.
Signals intelligence, how does that connect?
He integrates his professional intelligence training and martial arts into their scout curriculum. It's about awareness, resilience, practical skills for challenging environments.
Okay, the breadth is genuinely impressive.
And it keeps going. Lisa Ganora, author of a major textbook on herbal phytochemistry. Genosha Bice, co-founder of an outdoor leadership school. Rocky Guilford, a community herbalist focused on land stewardship, food justice. Even James Brock, teaching off-grid blacksmithing and blade making with reclaimed materials. He taught forging skills to the Rama tribe in Nicaragua. It's about ancient crafts, self-reliance.
So, okay, what's the takeaway from having such a diverse group? I mean, a Green Beret medic, an environmental chemist, a traditional midwife, a blacksmith. How does that actually change the learning? How does it change herbal medicine compared to a more standard program?
Well, it fundamentally shifts the whole learning environment, doesn't it? It's not about teaching just one narrow view. It's about cultivating practitioners who can look at health problems from, well, multiple angles. Students learn to combine the rigor of Western science with the deep empirical wisdom of traditional practices. And it's all grounded in real-world stuff, emergency preparedness, self-sufficiency. It leads to a truly holistic, really practical, and deeply interdisciplinary way of thinking about healing.
All right, so this mosaic of expertise isn't just for show. It actively shapes their teaching. Let's make this concrete. Let's look at their Integrative Herbalism first, bridging Western clinical herbalism and TCM herbology online course. How does that philosophy play out there?
All right, this course is a perfect example. It tackles a really big challenge in herbalism today. How do you meaningfully integrate the energetic wisdom of traditional Chinese medicine TCM into Western herbal practice? And flip side, how do you bring powerful Western botanicals into the toolkit of a TCM practitioner?
So it's about more than just knowing herbs from both systems.
Oh, much more. The aim is to move past just like surface level comparisons. It's about creating a genuinely more holistic and ultimately more effective approach, especially for those really tough chronic cases that often don't fit neatly into one single paradigm.
And looking at the description, this 4-week intensive seems packed. Students learn core TCM energetic principles and how to apply them to Western herbs, understanding TCM syndrome differentiation.
Exactly, and understanding how that changes your clinical approach. It's not just academic. They build a materia medica, linking Western herbs to TCM concepts. Find Western herbs that act like classic TCM formulas.
And they practice, hands-on.
Yes, that's key. They develop integrated SOAP notes, work through real case studies, practice patient intake using TCM diagnosis, but applying Western herbal protocols. Plus, there are weekly live sessions with expert feedback. That hands-on clinical experience is, well, invaluable.
Makes sense.
And this 14-hour course gives a certificate, counts towards clinical certification, and it's actually a prerequisite for their more advanced integrative modules.
Who's it best for then?
It's really ideal for Western herbalists wanting to get deeper into TCM pattern thinking, and also for TCM practitioners looking to broaden their herbal options with Western plants. No formal prerequisites, though they do recommend their Herbal Medicine for Professionals course first for a good foundation.
Got it. And the practical details for anyone listening, it's a 4-week online course, starts July 21st, 2025. Registration is open till August 4th, and they limit enrollment, right, to keep that personalized feedback effective.
Exactly. Small group size is important for the clinical practice parts.
Okay, so we've seen the diverse team, the innovative courses, but let's get to that really foundational idea you mentioned earlier, Sam Coffman's perspective on language itself. His blog post, The Language of Plant Medicine, Why Words Matter More Than You Think. This feels like where his linguistics degree really comes full circle. Let's unpack this a bit.
Absolutely. His core argument is powerful. Language doesn't just describe our world. It actively shapes how we understand it. He brings up the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis.
Right, the idea that you can't really think clearly about things you don't have words for.
Precisely. He argues this isn't just some abstract linguistic theory. It's a cognitive reality that really impacts how we approach healthcare, especially plant medicine.
And he talks about his own journey, how that linguistics background made him see the limits of what he calls the typical Western herbalism linguistic framework.
Yeah, he felt it often viewed plants through an allopathic lens, basically seeing them as sort of sophisticated little pharmaceutical factories, specific components targeting specific problems.
Which isn't wrong, he says,
Just incomplete, profoundly incomplete. And he traces some of this back to the Flexner Report in 1910.
The Flexner Report's long shadow.
Exactly. Now, that report did a lot to standardize medical education, increase scientific rigor, which was needed. But he argues it also cast this reductionist shadow over plant medicine. It pushed thinking towards isolated compounds, simple cause and effect. And in doing that, he says it essentially created a linguistic prison. We lost the vocabulary, the framework to talk about the complex, synergistic way whole plants actually work.
Can you give an example of that from the source?
Sure. He contrasts descriptions, take Baikal skullcap. Western description might be inhibits bacterial biofilms, functional, specific. But the TCM description is clears toxic heat, dries dampness. It's describing a whole pattern, an energetic state in the body.
Or white whorehound, Western, mild bronchodilator. TCM resolves phlegm heat.
Right. See the difference? It's not just different words for the same action. It's a fundamentally different way of conceptualizing what the plant is doing. One is a specific mechanism. The other is about shifting a whole energetic pattern. It's a different linguistic paradigm.
And Coffman had this big realization about this in 2022.
Yeah, he calls it his revelation of 2022 when he finished his master's in acupuncture and oriental medicine. He realized TCM offered this incredibly sophisticated language developed over thousands of years of observation to describe how plants work medicinally. This language gave him, and potentially us, new concepts, a precise vocabulary for really complex modern issues, things like endocrine problems, autoimmune conditions, chronic illnesses where Western descriptions often feel, well, kind of vague or insufficient.
This really highlights the difference he makes between symptom matching and TCM's syndrome differentiation. Can you explain that a bit more? What does that mean for, say, treating anxiety?
Okay, great example. So in a simpler Western approach, what he calls symptom matching, you might say, okay, anxiety. Let's use this calming herb.
Right, herb X for anxiety.
Exactly. But in TCM, they differentiate the pattern behind the anxiety. One person's anxiety might be diagnosed as liver key stagnation, maybe related to stress, frustration, irritability. Requires herbs that move key, soothe the liver. Other person's anxiety might be heart blood deficiency, more about depletion, causing restlessness, maybe palpitations, trouble sleeping. That needs herbs that nourish blood and calm the spirit. Totally different approach.
Same symptom anxiety, but different root patterns leading to different treatments.
Precisely. And that's where the linguistics comes back in. Sam's point, borrowing from linguistics, is precision in language leads to precision in thinking, which leads to precision in practice.
So vague language leads to vague practice.
Kind of. He uses the example of the word adaptogenic. It's used everywhere in Western herbal marketing, but often it's pretty vague, right? Just means helps with stress, generally. But a precise TCM description might say, an herb works by tonifying kidney yang while nourishing kidney yin. That tells you exactly how it's supporting the body's energy and fluid balance. It's a much more precise, actionable description.
That makes a lot of sense. It gives you a clearer map.
A much clearer map, which brings us to what he calls the integration imperative. Western herbalism offers vital tools, phytochemistry, safety data, scientific validation. That's essential. But TCM, and potentially other traditional systems, offers this sophisticated language, this conceptual framework for understanding the multidimensional energetic aspects of healing that he feels we've largely lost touch with in the West.
So the goal is to bring them together.
Exactly. Combine the scientific rigor with a nuanced, energetic understanding. He believes that creates a truly powerful, integrative approach that honors both the chemistry and the energetics. It helps us get past what he calls the smoke screen that's kind of obscured our view of plant medicine for the last century or so.
Okay. So wrapping up this deep dive then, we've looked at Herbal Medics Academy, this incredible blend of expertise they've assembled from special forces medics and MDs to environmental chemists, midwives, traditional crafters.
A really unique team.
Yeah. We saw how they bridge Eastern and Western approaches in their courses, like that Integrative Herbalism class. And maybe most profoundly, we explored this idea about language, how the very words we use shape our understanding of healing, and how finding a more precise language can actually lead to more precise and effective practice.
And thinking about that connection between language and understanding, it really raises a bigger question, doesn't it? Something for you, the listener, to consider. How might applying this idea, this concept of language as liberation, impact your understanding of other complex systems? Maybe in your own health journey, or your professional life, or even in personal relationships. Just think. Could learning a new vocabulary, finding a different conceptual framework, allow you to see deeper patterns you were missing before? Could it help you move beyond just looking at surface symptoms and gain a more precise, more nuanced grasp of the world around you? Something to chew on.